um, Solomon will be the one taking us through the first part of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, which is our first book that we'll be reading. So Solomon is a project manager. The plan is that he will review the first part of the book, and we will take questions after the review session. So Solomon, confirm that you can hear me and you are able to so we'll just start immediately. We'll just start now. So the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie is the book that Solomon will be taking. Solomon will be taking us through that book, the first part of the book. So I'll just hand over to Solomon now. Solomon Hemeju is a project manager, and he would take us through this session.
All right.
We'll take questions from everyone after the review. Thank you, Solomon. Over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ifoma. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, Solomon, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you also see me? Can you also see me?
Yes,
all right,
I can see you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Ifoma. And thank you, everyone, and everyone that has joined. I'm not able to see the number of persons that have joined, but I know that we have a reasonable number have joined this session this evening, and it's actually a wonderful opportunity from the leadership, the initiators of this book reading club. Let me say that, and I think it's something that it's something that is necessary at this time for us to have clubs like this and interact with each other, read books, come up with reviews, and come up with what we understand by the chapters that we've read. So today I'll be looking at the part one of the How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This book, we all know, if we have read it, I think I'll start by asking, you can just unmute and just say, hey, I have read. If you've read the part one, can you just indicate with I can't really see your virtual hand, but you can just say yes, fantastic.
Yes, I've read
Fantastic. Great. Thank you, everyone, for responding. Fantastic. So the part one of the book speaks on fundamental techniques in handling people. Okay, and that part one actually captured, and the principles don't criticize, condemn.
Is it Miss Solomon? I think you need to check your network.
That's the principle one, and they are on each principle is categorized under a chapter. That chapter, is it breaking? I thought everybody could hear me. Please confirm you can hear me very well, please, so that I will know if it's Kazim's network. Can you all hear me?
I can. Yeah, they said they can hear you. Can go ahead.
Okay. I think someone is saying they can hear me. Yes, I can hear. Okay, fantastic. So the part one, fundamental techniques in handling people. Each chapter speaks on a principle. Okay, thank you very, very much, Oduye. So each chapter speaks on a principle. The first principle of the chapter one is don't criticize, or give honest and sincere appreciation. And the last principle, which is the principle 3, speaks on Dale Carnegie was speaking on arouse in the other person, in an eager one, was trying to achieve on those principles. For instance, the principle 1, the chapter 1 is, if you want to gather honey, don't kick over the beehive. All right, it's a phrase and a metaphor that I was trying to say. If you want to get the best out of anyone, don't instigate resistance in them. Don't push them into that criticize them as you would. You know, we naturally want to criticize, it's natural instinct in us, we want to criticize, talk about something that is not done properly. Sometimes the first thing that comes to our mind is, this thing was not done properly, and we don't really look at what are the other alternatives that this person would have done. Did this person have the chance to do the other alternatives? So Dale Carnegie begins by emphasizing the importance of avoiding criticism on that book, in his book. He argues that criticism is futile because it puts other persons on the defensive. If you've read the book, if you go through the entire narrative, he was stating that for every stage you see that the story, most of the stories he was analyzing was how sometimes people become resistant by you criticizing them. So when you criticize them, it puts people on the defensive, all right? They want to always say, I did it this way. Okay, was there any other alternative that you would have provided for me to do that particular task? So he said it puts people on the defensive and usually makes them strive to justify themselves. How many of us in our day-to-day work we've experienced when sometimes we talk to our colleagues or talk to friends or even talk to our children at home or housemates or spouses, we see that when we come up with some things that, oh, why didn't you do it this way? Why did you do it this way? I don't like it this way. We actually put them on the defensive because they begin to create avenues or ways to do some particular thing. Moreover, criticism often wounds a person's pride. All right, when you criticize someone for everything they do, they lose self-esteem. All right, and Carnegie was trying to tell us that for us to be impactful in our day-to-day activities and for us to be good at what we do, we have to pay diligence to how we speak to our subordinates or the people we relate with or our friends to ensure that we don't really put a criticism in front. There are other ways. He emphasized it on the book in chapter 1 of other ways that we can deal with people. Sometimes, like it said about, I think, was Abraham Lincoln, all right, there was his general, if you've read that part, the verge of defeating a particular enemy army. And this general did not implement his order. And he wrote a letter to send to that general, but he never sent it. How many times that we want to criticize somebody that will play back the statement that we want to say to them and will like reflect those statements and see how it will impact the other person. So he is saying that we should avoid criticizing people because it makes them to lose their self-esteem. It makes them to lose grip of what they are to do, whether sometimes they lose trust of their ability. So as much as we are reading this book, I think it should, like the 9 steps of how to read the book, it should also speak to ourselves that, okay, practicalize what you read about on the book. Don't criticize. Go to your office, talk to your maid, talk to the people around you. They are actually doing what they know how to do based on that stage of their life. Maybe they can do better if encouragement and there's a better way to speak to them. So I would say don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Take it, learn it, read about it, practicalize it at every activity that you do. So that's what Dale Carnegie is trying to tell us. And the second one is speak on the big secret of dealing with people. That's the principle 2. That's chapter 2 of the part 1. Principle 2 is say, give honest and sincere appreciation. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Carnegie stresses the power of appreciation. In the book, he stresses the power of appreciating people. There's this Charles Scott that became the first millionaire employee. He narrated the story of how he became, what are the features, what are the character of this man. And it boils down to his ability to arouse enthusiasm among his people. All right. He said the greatest asset I possess and the way to develop it is, he said the greatest asset I possess and the way to develop the best that is in people by appreciation and encouragement. All right. So they asked him, Charles, how have you gotten to being the president of the still biggest, largest steel companies globally, and what are you doing? So how is it that Andrew Carnegie can pay you this amount? You know, for a leader to be earning that amount in quote, it means that the leader has some things inside of him. And when he was asked, he said, I appreciate people, all right? I encourage them, I appreciate them. So as we read this book, one of the lessons we have to learn as well is understand, being honest in our appreciation. Don't flatter anyone, you know. It talks about the difference between flattering and genuine appreciation. So don't flatter anyone, because sometimes people can say, oh, you're flattering me, all right? They don't do, and you may be saying those things from a sincere heart. So if you are sincere about it, if you are firm about it, you know, I am appreciating you. The little things our subordinates do in our offices, in our place of work, in our daily activities, in our businesses, even in our homes, the little things our spouses do. Carnegie is saying to us that we should understand appreciation, all right? There is power in it. It stresses it. It distinguishes between flattery and appreciation on the book, all right? Noting that the former is insincere, that's flattering is insincere, and can be perceived as manipulative, all right? Sometimes you don't be genuine when you're appreciating. Don't flatter. Don't make it because it's manipulative. You are not bringing it from a genuine heart. While the letter is genuine, that is appreciation. Thank you can go a long way. Wow, you did a good job, but you can actually do it better like this. Can go a long way. You know, that simple appreciation that we show to our neighbors, our spouses, our colleagues at work, our subordinates at work, even our leaders sometimes, you know, leaders can help you get some things done. You show a genuine appreciation. Thank you very much for exposing these things to me. So he's emphasizing that we should show that genuine appreciation on everything we do. And I believe as you have read the book, you will practice these principles. And principle 3 from chapter 3 said, he who can do this has it. That's chapter 3 title says, he who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. What is that thing that he's talking about? He's talking about arousing in the other person an eager want, all right? Instigating something in the other person to want to make that person to do a task without necessarily forcing the person to do that particular task. You know, sometimes in your places, in your various places of work, as many that are on this call, in your various places of work, there are authorities. Your boss says, do this, is an authority, all right? Sometimes you just do the one you can do and present to him, and he goes and refuses. You do here, person, do that thing like you are doing it. So you have to instigate in that person the desire, the eager want. All right. So that's what Carnegie is saying here. He said, concludes part 1 by explaining that the best way to persuade someone is to focus on what they want and show them how to get it. To read through the stories and it talks about different aspects, from children, from family, to even in our workplaces, how to get the best results from the other person, how to get the child to eat if you're a mother, for instance, how to get your housemate to do the task that seemingly looks difficult to that housemate, how to also get your spouse to do some certain things that naturally will be a resistance to them. How do you do it? How do you communicate those aspects of what you want to do? It's in line with the way we communicate subordinates. So Carnegie is explaining it to us here that it's someone to focus on how to do it. Instead of talking about what we want, we should try to understand what the other person desires. That's what Carnegie is saying on the book as well in part 1, 3. Understand what the other person desires and communicate through that line to that person. And by the time we do those things, we'll find out that we're actually winning them. All right, we're actually handling them very well. We're actually making them do work naturally for us. So the first principle, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. All right, don't criticize, condemn, or complain, and don't use flattering. Be genuine with what you are saying. Second principle states that give honest and sincere appreciation. Give honest and sincere appreciation to everyone around you. And the third principle says, arouse in the other person an eager want. All right, what do you want this person to do? Talk to their want, talk about what they want. You know, the first time I read this book some years ago, there is a phrase that I captured out of this book, and that phrase as I've used that phrase, I've used it sometimes in my personal life. It said, nobody cares about what you know until they know how much you care. All right, nobody cares. Sometimes they don't even care about what you know. You can speak and speak and speak. Everybody is interested in themselves. Everybody that comes to the table, they are coming with their personal interest. So how do you make that person to do what you want the person to do? You have to drop your own self and speak to that person's self and bring that person into what you want them to do. And you'll find out that they will start doing the things that you want them to do naturally without you coercing them. I think I have been able to review the chapter very well to us. And if we go back and read it, we'll be able to paint a picture and practice everything that if you've read it before, if you've not read it, go back and read it. If you've read it, document down, practice these principles, and we'll see fruits on them. Thank you very much. Thank you, Foma. I'll yield the floor back to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Solomon. Thank you so much. I mean, I think you said it all. I mean, I think I would just like to do, aside on some of the things that you spoke on. I mean, the first principle that has to do with we should not criticize, condemn, or complain. I mean, because that way you don't, you put that person in a corner. The person trying to defend in his or herself. I mean, that point is very, 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 very important for us. So I mean, take out this part. At that point, that's the principle that speaks to give honest and sincere appreciation. I mean, appreciate people. So, I mean, be sincere when you appreciate people. Don't use flattery. Don't tell people what they want, and of course, when you're doing that. The third principle that you mentioned that has to do with it. Put in the other person and arouse in the other person an eager one. So put yourself in the person's shoe, right? By trying to, you want someone to do something, but the only way you can actually get that person to do that thing is by giving the person what the person wants. That way, I mean, you would be able to get that person to do what you actually want. I mean, you've really said it all. I mean, those are very important points that, I mean, you mentioned while you were reviewing the book. I think at this point would like to leave the floor open to anyone that would like to also add to what Solomon has said concerning the part one, that has spoke about the three principles, which is in 3 chapters. So I don't know if anyone would like to add. You can just do that by, I mean, raising your hands, and we'll give you the floor for you to open the floor for you to speak, basically. Anyone, please.
There is FCMF. Please go ahead to unmute yourself and speak. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Yes, thank you. So I don't want to speak on things that the reviewer already mentioned. Basically, he has said most of them. So, but I just want to call our attention to something. Sometimes you want to understand the book beyond what is written. You want to understand it by maybe looking at what prompted the person to write it, and also looked at the context. To me, I think that sets the mind. It sets my mind in a way before I read the book. So I read the forward, the comments before the book, and everything. So in a way, it gave me a different mindset towards reading the book. So I think it's important for anybody that will be reading the book to ask those questions. Why did this person write the book? So for example, Dale Carnegie said that in writing this book, it's not something that started out as a book. It was meant to be a lecture. Then, after a while, it's something that became a book over a period of time. And in doing that, he had, gone through so many documentaries, so many writings, read so many, and researched so much for him to be able to establish all of these things that you are reading. So, I mean, if you have that at the back of your mind while reading this, you would, in some type of way, then appreciate whatever it is that you are reading, because number one, knowing that a lot of work has gone into it. Number two, knowing how far this person has gone to write it. Then knowing, this book dates back to many years ago, and it has been rewritten, but not so much has changed from it. Just that, according to them, they try to relate it to, examples that we can now relate to in our own day and time. So I just wanted to add that part, that in reading the book, it's important to keep in mind what prompted, what inspired the book, how the book has come to be, and how it has, gained a lot of attention and sold and translated in different languages all over the world. So that in some way would give you a sense as to what value the book has in it. So that you can begin to appreciate the things that the guy has said. You read books every day, but sometimes you need to be able to focus based on context, based on inspiration that prompted the book and all of that. I just want to...
So can you help us to introduce yourself as well so that we know your name? You say FCMF.
Well, call me Olalekan.
All right, thank you, Olalekan. All right, we'll come over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lekon, for that. I don't know if anyone else wants to add to also make a comment. Please do so by raising your hand. I can see two hands up, so I can see Taiwo Akinlade. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, good evening. Good evening.
Yeah,
Can you
good
hear me?
evening.
Good evening.
Yes,
Okay,
we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Akinlade Taiwo, and what I just want to add a quick one to every other thing that has been said so far that actually captured me was, before you improve others, improve yourself first. That is something one really, really needs to work on, that I have taken as part of me now, that I actually need to improve myself. As in, there's this adage that those who live in a glass house do not throw a stone. So that's something that has really captured me. But I guess most of it has been said so far, but because of the time and to save time, but that's something I want some other people to take note to. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. I can see other hands up, so you can go ahead. Ogenekewe. Yeah, I can see Ogenekewe's hand up. Please go ahead.
Ogeneke, please go ahead to unmute yourself.
Yes, I think I've done that. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for this book club. I just joined earlier this week, and listening to the review, and the contributions that have come afterwards. I think I'm at the right place. Thank you so much. I didn't have the time to read through the entire part that we're reviewing this evening, but I did go through some. And I just want to share part the fact that everyone wants to feel valued, everyone wants to feel important. And I think that holds very true for the workplace. It's not just enough for us to have key results areas and KPIs. People need to understand how their role contributes to the entire picture, to the big picture of what the organization or department seeks to achieve. And I think when they have that understanding of what the bigger mandate is and what contributions they have to make, or what roles they have to play in achieving that target or that goal, I think it makes them feel very important and makes them want to give their best. So you don't spend so much time trying to convince them or trying to cajole them. When they have the understanding and when it's coming from them naturally, it's easy for them to just in. So I just thought to really highlight that point.
Thank you so much. I think we have just 2 minutes left. And I think I would like to speak on just to mention what one of the people once said, what one of the speakers, one of the people that spoke said, which is, before you start pointing fingers, try to ask yourself if you've acted in a way that in a proper way. So improve on yourself, work on yourself. What can you do to make yourself better? It's but that is very, very important. And I just want to leave us with something as we round up at this point. Which is one thing that Henry Ford said. If there's any secret to success, it lies in the ability to get other person's point of view, right? Associate things from other people's angle before as well as yours. So before you try to, make suggestions, let other people speak. Then you can add back. So everybody wants to be appreciated. Everyone wants to feel important. So it's important that we make people feel important. I think I just want to leave us with that quote. And and also to tell everyone, thank you for joining this session. See you again next week, Saturday.
Sorry, Foma, before we close, just one line, please. Okay. Thank you, Foma.
Okay,
just because there is a comment in the chat that I think is not. We need to clarify. So someone is saying that Dale Carnegie and some of the presentations that we've made is showing as if it's a lavish use of praise. That is not what Dale Carnegie is saying. And that's why this session is just to prep us, to encourage us to read, right? And we're just summarizing about 32 pages of documents within 30 minutes, right? So we cannot explain every single thing. We're just giving you the basics. What Dale Carnegie is saying is don't condemn and criticize, right? You can correct and give people opportunity to learn. Condemnation or criticism in this context is down the person's sense of, let's say, this person's confidence to say, oh, this thing you have done, you've not applied yourself, you've not used your brain, you've not, that is criticism. But saying, oh, this thing that you have done is good. However, these are the things lacking. If you do it this way, it's an opportunity for you to teach people and let them learn. As against an opportunity to down their spirits and ridicule their personality. So Dale is not saying we shouldn't criticize, we shouldn't correct people or give people opportunity to learn. He's just basically saying the intention and the approach of doing. And that's why he said something about genuineness in praises. You are not saying, oh, this guy is so fantastic. You are not flattering the person. You are only giving that person honest feedback and genuine appreciation on what the person has done. I think I just want to clarify that. Thank you so much, Ufoma, and the opportunity. Solomon, you have done fantastically well. Thank you, Ufoma. So, Ufoma, over to you to wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kazim. Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining. And I think it's at the time now is 8:01, so it's a good time for us to close. So enjoy the rest of your weekend and see you same time next week, Saturday. Thank you, everyone, and bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you for one. Have a lovely day, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.